that worked pretty good. Just even showing the bell. So, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Welcome
Good afternoon.
welcome to the weekly meeting of the Rotary Club of Barrie. And a special welcome to our visiting Rotarians and special guests out there. Things go better when you are here. We will begin our meeting in the usual way with O Canada and a toast to the Queen. Toast to the Queen. You will hear a little bit more about that wonderful rendition a little bit later. Right now, introduction of guests and visiting Rotarians. I know Dr. J has a guest.
I do. I would like to welcome Tanya Sari.
Welcome, Tanya. Any other guests? I'll take that as summertime and people are on vacation. So welcome all the guests and visiting Rotarians that are going to hop on YouTube to see this wonderful meeting. Let's get here. So, our beacon editor this week is Chris Van Niekerk. And if you're making any announcements, please send him an email. He's doing double duty for us with beacon editor and a director. So really appreciate that. For last week's beacon, Wallace, thank you very much. Great job. I know that you had a lot of distractions with the gang that you were with, but you managed to capture everything. Let's see, special presentations and announcements. Any special presentations? Is past President Craig on with us? I don't see him. Okay, announcements. Betty Ann, I know you have an announcement. You're on mute.
There we are. Good afternoon, President Deb and fellow Rotarians. If you're watching the recorded videos of these Thursday noon meetings, can you let me know? Because then we will give you credit for your attendance at a meeting. We are trusting you with the four-way test, and hopefully that will work. Please also check the duty roster and see if you're on, especially the captains, and let your beacon editor know that you're on. Please check those two things and all will be well. If you're meeting together now in different groups, please just send me a note with who's with you, and we want everybody to be counted. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty Ann. Anyone else with Announcement? No? Everybody's just enjoying the sunshine? Awesome. Birthdays and anniversaries. We have one birthday with John McNabb. Our anniversaries, Dave and Nancy McCullough, August 9th, 40 years. Darren and Kim Robinson, August 10th, 24 years. Peter Smith and Fran Sikkema, August 10th, 42 years. And Bud and Linda Gooderham, August 11th, 53 years. And our club anniversaries is Jeff McQuaig, 11 years, and Bud Gooderham, 37 years. Now I see Daryl had a hand up. Daryl?
It was just a clap in celebration.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. That's the first time I've seen that. So thank you very much for a clap. Feel free, everybody. That was really nice. And do we have a birthday song?
I do not have a birthday song this week, President Debbie.
Would you like to sing it?
No.
Okay.
We can get everyone to sing it.
Does everyone want to sing happy birthday?
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy, happy birthday.
Dear fellow,
To you.
to you.
And many more.
That was particularly sad.
Definition of
Oh. Are you unmuted there, President? There you go.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. For those of you celebrating a birthday, a donation of 6 polio plus vaccinations will be done in your name. And for those celebrating an anniversary, a contribution to the polio COVID resource center. Get my words here. So with that, SAA, oh, hold on, we do have a new addition. We have, just hold on. Okay, we have a new piece for the meetings. The COVID Pivot Rotary Edition. Stories of how Rotarians use a challenge to open opportunities. Actually, technically, our second one is David Sopich, founder and CEO of Aveti Commerce Corporation. David and Jeff.
Hi, Debbie. Did you want us to go in sequence, or how do you want to do this?
It is your show right now, David.
Oh, okay. Let me share my screen then and so forth. Hey, everybody. Eric asked me if I could give a bit of a presentation about how COVID's affected us. Can everybody see my screen? I should be sharing right now, correct? Can you hear me? I don't know if there's a yes or no. Debbie, can you see my screen?
You're good, Dave. I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So Eric asked, I don't want to promote ourselves, but Eric asked us to talk a little bit about who we are first. So I'll give a bit of an explanation, basically. So what we do, we're a software company headquartered in Barrie. We've been doing e-commerce for 20 years. We've made our own e-commerce platform that we do marketplaces and multi-store e-commerce. We're about 7 offices globally, and we do everything for the customer and so forth. And we're, as I said, headquartered in Canada. We're in Singapore, UAE, India, Ukraine, China, and Panama, and so forth. So we've got a lot of understanding of what's happening around the world. We have about maybe 1,000 brands using our solution globally right now. Most of these are in the promotional product space, which we'll talk about in a second, basically. And I'll show you some of the other ones as well. And basically, let's just talk about that a little bit first. Let me show a little bit here. So where are we here? So we do 11 stores for Google, for example, all promotional products. We do Canada Post, biggest SAP installation in Canada. We do Bradford Exchange globally, not globally, but maybe 4 or 5 stores, millions of dollars per day in sales. And we do Harlequin, and that's about all we do in Canada. And we do Government of Ontario as well. You go to Publications Ontario. So that's a little bit of what we do and so forth. And we're mostly engineers and programmers. We don't really have a marketing department or a sales department. Anyway, that's what we do. So let's talk about how the industry has been affected. It's all over the place. B2C is up by 3 times. We've had one customer that's up 300% basically, because everybody's home shopping. Everybody has nothing to do but buy stuff. I know I bought a lot more from Amazon recently as well. B2B is hit and miss though, depends on the industry. Remember I mentioned that we do the promotional products industry. We have a lot of customers there. They've been devastated because they're all about giving hats, mugs, and branded merchandise at trade shows. There are no more trade shows, right? So they're just absolutely destroyed basically. We've had 3 of our customers go bankrupt already. So it's hit and miss all over the place basically. What we're seeing is the economy is reconfiguring. Anything to do with the home, hot tubs, decks, home renovations, landscaping, it's all booming. We're in Sweetworks, we've got about 12 people there. Well, when we are there. And one of our neighbors, he sells boat insurance and he's working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. Sales are up 40%. He's turned away 500 customers. So anything to do with home or leisure, just absolutely booming. Travel and tourism's devastated. Of course, movie theaters are still pretty much closed, except I think they've opened up a bit. And I was talking to a radio guy. We actually got radio ads running out selling something we're offering right now for free. And the radio guy was telling me that their sales are down 70% or 66%, because he said in the past, the hot tub guys used to be the ones advertising. They're booming so much, they have no capacity. And then the other guys, like the small restaurants and businesses, they're getting hammered basically. They got no money basically. So his sales are down dramatically, and nobody's driving around anyway in the car to look at radio ads. Same thing with billboards, I'm sure, is a problem as well. The big thing is trade shows are not happening. We used to do a lot of trade shows. I'd be on the road maybe 5 weeks at a time, basically, and around the world. But you know what? They're almost not needed anymore. Especially for our industry that's doing so well, we don't need to. And the whole point of a trade show is you go visit a customer at the show and they say, okay, let's do a meeting at your office tomorrow. Well, nobody's at the office anymore. It's quite fascinating, basically. And just to see how everything else is reconfiguring. Rental rates in New York City down 4%. Anybody doing anything for the office is bankrupt. Brooks Brothers is bankrupt. Taylor Brands just went to file for bankruptcy a couple days ago. Even hotels I used to use in Dubai, 2 of my favorite ones, closed maybe forever basically, and stuff like that. So it's really amazing, and you know, it's just amazing to see how everything's changing around. The big trend, of course, as all of you may know, is work from home. And I was reading something on CNN yesterday about L'Oreal. They've got 12,000 workers in North America. And the company said, okay, 25% of people back in the office. And everybody's saying, no, I don't want to go back. Nobody wants to go back. Everybody loves working from home. I had some of my staff in a meeting here last night at my house, and their wives came with them, and they've been home and they don't want to go back, and probably will never go back. And a lot of companies, especially IT, work is going to be work from home forever. This means there's going to be less need for commercial office space. We tried 1 day a week and nobody wanted to go. So now we're doing 2 days a month in the office. That's it. And we don't think we want to do more than that. Maybe 1 day a week, never more than that. And I was talking to realtors, and they're telling me many businesses are putting their office in storage and ending their leases and so forth. So there's going to be much less demand. The other big point is the need to have a small office for credibility is eliminated. You don't have to anymore say, hey, I want your business, come meet me at my office, we'll sit down and talk and shake hands. Now you can say, let's do a Zoom meeting. So a lot of the small businesses, they don't need to go to the office anymore or even have an office and so forth. And the other key factor is we're noticing that if everybody's working from home, now people can steal your employees from anywhere. We had some company in Saskatchewan try to hire away one of our employees, and we had to massively increase the salary to keep them, because now it doesn't matter. You're not worrying about competing with local companies that are trying to grab your people because nobody's driving anymore. So there's a lot of this work from home is really changing things around. It's really quite amazing and so forth. Now, one thing good about our industry is e-commerce is booming. It's actually amazing. Everybody's now realizing this is critical. In the past, you know, people say, oh yeah, I tried e-commerce, it didn't work for us. They can come to my store and we already sell in the store person to person directly. Now they're realizing if there's a second wave or third wave and they're going to be shut down again, they got no choice. So this is a huge realization basically, which is amazing. How have we been impacted? March, April, and May's business stopped completely. Nobody knew what was happening, so nobody wanted to spend any money. We probably lost 3 or 4 projects basically. And as I said, 3 customers went bankrupt. We learned a lot about US bankruptcy laws versus Canada. Let me tell you, Canadian bankruptcy laws are much better and so forth. Since then, we've had others double their business to us. And now we're getting many, many leads, inquiries locally. It's going to be a record year for us. So right now it's good. And often the first question we get from potential leads is, do you have any capacity to take this project? And so forth. And that's quite interesting. We also pivoted a lot, basically. I probably spent a quarter of my time looking over contracts and so forth. So we got on every single government program we could find. Choose the 40 grand government loan, the 10% payroll tax, EDC and BDC, and Choose was quite complicated. EDC and BDC, even though they've advertised all these loans, nothing's happened basically, and who knows what'll ever eventually happen with that. But we're applying to everything basically, because you don't know if things are going to get much, much worse. So you have to do everything possible to see what you can do. Also, many industries, if you sell to an industry, that industry may have some benefits. There's e-commerce grants from OMAFRA, Canada United, FedDev, and so forth. And we don't really target small businesses in Canada, so this is kind of irrelevant to us. And so forth, but we may be doing this shortly, which I'll mention. We also look around the world. I mean, Hong Kong, they've got a program where they'll pay 90% of B2B e-commerce projects, and we've got a potential customer there. The only problem is with Canada and China at war, basically, verbally, the Hong Kong government seems to not want to approve us as the preferred vendor, so that's not good. Singapore, 80% of e-commerce projects they'll pay for, and Singapore is unbelievable. If you've got an office in any country that has you know, is Singapore as a sovereign wealth fund. They run surpluses. They don't have budget deficits, so they're so generous. They've got a program where if you hire somebody over the age of 50, because that person is so decrepitly old in their opinion in Asia, that the government has to help them get employment basically. So, you know, 50% of the salary for the first 6 months, 30% for the next 6 months, 20% for the last 6 months. So we got staff there, and we chose people over 50, obviously, and they're paying part of the salary. Then they gave us this gift, a training gift. It's called PMAX. Now here's $5,000 you can use as a training benefit for your employees. Buy a laptop or do whatever you want with it. Well, we're using it to pay the salary. They'll even give us 70% of any money we spend to help export from Singapore. It's incredible, absolutely unbelievable. So we're on top of everything in every country we can find basically to see what's around. And I've not even listed a bunch of other countries that do things and so forth. They're even giving us 25% of the salaries in Singapore from last fall. So that's phenomenal as well. And no forms to fill out. They just put it in your bank directly. It's just absolutely amazing. So that's things we're doing. So the key factors, pay attention to government loans and programs globally, everywhere. See how people are being helped and see how you can align to help those companies get that help basically and so forth. So that's what we're doing. Luckily, we're in an industry that people need. I mean, food you need, and now people are realizing everything's online. The other thing we're doing is we're launching new services. And so Jeff Lehman a few months ago and Barry said, hey, Barry businesses help companies get online. And my wife told me, oh, gee, why don't we do something? It took us a couple months to put that together. So what we did is we launched the Open for Business Marketplace, which is our marketplace tech. We'll just donate it, not a problem. And we're basically helping businesses like retail stores and restaurants and farmers markets and so forth get online with a free solution. And we're doing that right now, basically. And this is, to be honest, this is just so much fun. Normally, I'm on conference calls with 20 people from the government or something like that, and you know, large customers are very, very difficult and demanding and want things yesterday, and they don't want to pay much and so forth. We think large customers pay a lot, but they don't, and so forth. But the point is small businesses, it's just nice to see hardworking small businesses. We're just doing this for free for them to you know, just to do something in the small business space, and we've got the tech, why not? And so forth. What does it cost to run a server? So that's something we're doing. We're also launching that in Panama and launching in India because we are constantly thinking globally and basically as well, and probably Australia after that and so forth. So that's what we're doing basically, and so forth. And apart from that, COVID might be, I don't think it's going away until there's a treatment. You know, even with a vaccine, a recent study of Americans that 50% won't take it. And even we polled our team last night who came to visit my patio last night, and 80% didn't want to touch the vaccine until other people did it, until it was proven, and so forth. So I think the key need is a treatment. And I don't know if anything's coming out soon. So if that happens soon, everything's back in business. But even if it does, you still don't want to be the 1% that gets the virus, because you don't know if the treatment will work for you, basically, right? And I think people will social distance for the next few years. And there's going to be less travel, less group activity. I think it's a new normal. So that's my view. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think this is just going to be how it is for a long time. Anyway, that's my opinion, Debbie. So hopefully I'm not talk beyond the 5 minutes you allocated. And anyway, that's my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, for sharing that. And hope everybody found some value in there and something a little different for our lunch meeting. Yeah, SAA Eric.
Thanks, President Debbie. I'll stand up so that.
Dave, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Dave, can you stop your screen sharing?
Well, I've paused it. I'll click stop share, but every time I do that, it exits me. But if it exits, I'll just come back in.
There you go.
Okay, I'm still in. We're good. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, President Debbie, and thanks, David. It is interesting to see how different companies are responding at this time. So it's a great little addition to the program. Okay, Secretary Jack, can we throw up the other slide, Jack? Oh, there we go. Thank you. Over here. All right, I'm going to try to put on a different headset. This microphone any better?
Much better.
Okay, good deal. All right, thank you. President Deb, let's go on to the next slide there, Jeff. I'll include this on a regular basis. This is just the all the easy and fun ways you can pay your fines and also sign up for the Michael and Bonnie baby pool. Let's keep that reminder in the Beacon as well if we could. The Beacon editor will be able to draw on the last Beacon's note on the baby pool. So a topic on the baby pool is half of the days in September have now been sold. So you'll want to get in on the action soon. You can certainly check in with me to see which days are still available, or I can throw that to the Beacon editor as well. And we'll keep that announcement going. It's a nice way to celebrate a great addition to the club coming up soon. Slide 2, please. The anthem today is a little bit of a special story. So I wanted Marshall to introduce you to David Wine. Marshall, can you tell us a little bit about this interesting guest?
Thank you, President Sergeant at Arms Eric and President Deb and fellow Rotarians. David Wine is the son of Lillian and Mitch Wine. The Rotarians may know Mitch from his job as an emergency room physician at the RVH or for his many appearances in charity hockey games. David is an amazing young man. I've known David now for many years as a congregant in the Shalom Synagogue. David has a serious disability, which he's seriously autistic. Then this has seriously limited his development over the years. However, Mitch and especially his mom Lillian prefer to stress his ability. Though not able to understand the notes on a page of music, David has perfect pitch and is able to listen to a piece of music and repeat it on piano, guitar, or flute after about an hour's practice. He also has a lovely voice, as you heard today, which he shares with our synagogue choir. David has been a key member of Barrie's Emerging Musicians program and has performed at various Barrie venues and fundraisers, including Theatre by the Bay's Stars Come Out concert. He's truly an amazing young man, amazing young musician, and one who you should consider hiring for an event.
Thanks, Marshall. That's it's a pretty warm story. I've had the pleasure of seeing David at a couple of events, and you did not hear his full talent on the piano today. He's quite a remarkable player. But a special story there. Next slide, please. So this one was actually a surprise to me. I was really glad to get this notice come through. We have an end of an era happening downtown. I know that Rob Hamilton is not in the Zoom meeting today, but the Queens has been sold after 46 years. This is Donna's post on social media. Lots of mixed emotions and a big adjustment ahead to face retirement. They thanked all the employees and customers who have supported them over the years. Truly an end of an era. President Deb, what do you even do for a fine for a Rotarian who did not make a good news announcement about this? 46 years in business. What do you think we ought to do with this one?
Well, definitely this deserves a whopper of a fine. 46 years downtown Barrie. I think we're going to have to nab him when he is online. Hopefully we can get him there soon and get the whole story as to what he's done with the Queens over the years, and then assess from there. But I'm thinking $46 just to kind of throw it out there. So I think he needs to get online and help navigate that downwards.
I like the way that fine was coming out. That makes an awful lot of sense in my opinion. Folks that are out there, please let Rob know that we would like to see him in a meeting soon. Maybe he can watch the video of this one, and then he'll know what he's in for if he wants to try to talk it down. Thanks, President Deb, for setting the bar on that one. Next slide, please. So this was nice. This was a good news announcement that was actually brought forward by Jenny. Jenny was our passport at the SAA committee last night. You'll see a lot of good-looking people there. Jenny told us she has a good news announcement. Jenny, are you on the line?
I can't really tell if you just got called out or not. I don't know.
It's clearly good news enough that it ranks the hooligans.
Yeah. Did you just get by?
Yeah, you're going.
What?
Okay, what's the news, Jenny?
Oh, so I accepted a job at Hamilton Construction. So I started in like a week and a bit.
Nice, new job at Hamilton Construction. That's pretty cool. President Deb, what do you like good news announcement fine?
Sorry?
I wanted to double check with President Debbie what she's what our market is for good news announcement fine. Actually, President Deb, I'm going to reject on this one. Jenny made a really nice donation to make her bid on the baby pool. So she did more than the $10 by a fair margin. So I would suggest that Jenny's already paid up on this one, but a great news announcement. Any word from you, Deb, on this one?
Well, being that she contributed and actively participating in both satellite and the lunch meetings, I think we'll give her a pass, but I'm a little struggling. I think she owes us each a drink.
All right.
Thank you, President Deb.
Secretary Jeff.
Unmute and ask if they would find her a round of drinks for the table.
Looks like a lot of good times going on down at Hooligans.
You can just select on that.
How do you do it?
Yeah, okay. We need a fine for a round of drinks at the table.
That's it.
A round of drinks at the table.
That seems like a good start. There you go. All right, thanks,
Part
folks.
of our investigation.
All right, next slide, please. Now, this one, I do not have a clue. This is a very strange looking photograph. No idea what this picture is even about. Stick handler looks a little bit familiar. Based on the hairline, looks a fair bit like past President Dave McCullough. Do you have any sort of explanation for what looks like a stick of cotton candy?
Hello, President Deb. How are you?
I am very well, past President Dave.
Hi, I have Nancy joining me right now. So I do have a guest. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Rory's throwing me under the bus here. Nancy and I were down in London on the weekend to celebrate grandchild number 2's second birthday, Ledger. And you know that name. It's a nice name, a Ledger. And then we were part of a reveal. So we also found out we have another one on the way. And it was nice to be part of it. We're expecting a granddaughter into the McCullough family. So, yeah. As you can see, Nancy is very happy.
Yes, wonderful. Maybe we can have the babies meet each other. They could grow up and get married and make more babies.
It's all planned. Yeah, it's good. And I just want to elaborate on Robbie Hamilton, just as you get ready to assess my fine. I probably spent 40 years of his 46 years helping him with his retirement, as we used to frequent the Queens quite often.
Yes, but I think that just goes with being a good citizen of Barrie to support the town and to support the Queens.
Okay, alrighty, good. As we grew up with it, right? Yes.
And we grew up with the Queens. It is certainly an end of an era on one part, but it is continuing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think the fine, I don't know, there's got to be something here, past President Dave. I just can't see, announcements and babies. When is the little one due?
Early 2021, February.
Oh yeah, that's way down the way. Okay, so I think at least $3, and I'm giving you a $2 break only because it's your anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks, Eric.
Happy anniversary, gang. Happy anniversary, Nance. Scotty, were you trying to kick in there? I saw you went unmuted.
I was just going to say one of the reasons they're happy it's a girl is they'll have another really good golfer.
So we have, well said, Scotty. Well said.
Next generation of girls out golfing the boys. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take on next slide, please. This one, President Deb, I don't think we need a fine here, but there's an awful lot of fun happening in that little meeting at the Colliers. This is a great look at what Stronger Together looks like. It's kind of neat. You can certainly see how blurry Bernie Still's face looks, but now that we see him with the beard, it's not blur, it's just beard.
Yeah.
So I don't have the heart to ask for a fine. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. I'd love to have more screenshots like this with people getting together and enjoying. So congratulations, everyone, for getting together. That's awesome. Please do it more.
All right, my last one, Secretary Jeff, is a pet pick. So now we're gonna have to go back to hooligans again. Rory, if you guys are hearing this, do you want to introduce us to Ruby?
Oh, look.
Rory.
Yeah.
Rubes.
Nice.
Rory, tell us about Ruby.
Oh, you're supposed to talk, Rory. Sorry, what was that, Eric?
Tell us about Ruby. We got Ruby's picture up on the screen there a few minutes ago.
So Ruby's a 5-year-old purebred boxer, and she always keeps a close eye on Charlie. So that was a photo from our week at the cottage last week.
And which one was Ruby?
Which one was Ruby?
I'm assuming
the one on the right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Ruby out on the point.
Very nice. Nice picture. Thanks for sharing your pet pick. Keep those ones coming in. I'd heard a rumor that Jody Patfield might have a new pet as well. I didn't see Jody online today, but we may want to give him the heads up that he better get a pet pick in or we'll come looking for him. President Deb, that's what I've got from an SAA perspective today.
Awesome. Great work. Lots of fun, and we collected a little bit. We'll have to kind of work on that for the coffers.
If we can collect on Rob Hamilton, that'll put us up nicely.
Most definitely. I'm figuring he's going to somehow manage to talk that down, though. We'll see. We'll see how many times it takes him to get online. So as of now, thank you very much, SAA Eric. That was awesome. And we are going to move into our talks for today. Now, if there is any early leavers, now would be the appropriate time. But you would be missing an incredible amount of Rotary stories. This will be certainly one for the books, and we will have to see how it gets edited for YouTube. Because as you know, what happens in Rotary stays in Rotary. So with that, the mission was to find a bit of like a Rotary story, or how does it, make the best of you? What's the touching experience? And each one has their own. But I'm going to turn this back over to SAA Eric for walking us through who's going to be sharing our stories.
Thanks, President Deb. It is nice to hear from our own folks. In this case, let's start off with past president of a different club, Doug Jernigan. Doug, you online?
I am.
There he is.
So here's a couple of quick points. Rotary, for nearly 50 years, has been my social connection to human beings, to people. I am not a social individual at all. If there's no purpose to a meeting, I'm just not interested in it. But because Rotary has a structure to it, it fit me well for all those years. Over that time, I've heard about 2,500 speakers on topics I never would have heard had I stayed just focused in my veterinary career field. I've eaten the same number of Rotary meals, and I've never gotten ill after a Rotary meeting. That's a lot of meals. My meeting time, the only time at meetings in Rotary over those decades, is almost 2 years when it comes to just the Thursday noon meetings. Rotarians in the beginning, new Rotarians, are walking into a new room, are strangers, then acquaintances, and then friends. So if you're young in Rotary, give it time. Rotarians care, and that's what really sets us apart, but also puts us together. There are many speakers in my lifetime in Rotary that stood out to me, but one of them actually came back to me when I was chatting with Ernie Rotman here a few years ago. The Chief Justice, and for those of you who don't know, I was in Topeka, Kansas for 35 years of Rotary. The Chief Justice of the Kansas Supreme Court, Richard Rogers, a fellow Rotarian, was speaking, and we expected a legal topic. When he stood in front of the 180 Rotary members, he told us a war story about when he was a bomber pilot in World War II. On the way home from a mission, the bombers were under attack by German fighters, and their whole fleet were just sitting ducks. And suddenly, the Tuskegee Airmen fighters showed up, engaged the German fighters in a dogfight to protect the bombers, drove off the Germans, and escorted the bombers back to base. He had recently learned that a fellow member Rotarian was part of that group. He thanked, to a standing ovation of the 180 members, Merrill Ross for saving his Fanny. Merrill was a Tuskegee Airman. No one knew that until that moment. He was a Black Rotarian, the first Black man in the Topeka Club, and the first Black principal of the elementary school in Topeka. And Topeka was the home of Brown versus Board of Education school segregation lawsuit. Ernie Rotman reminded me of Merrill Ross. If you knew Ernie, his understated style, his droll sense of humor, that was Merrill Ross. When I met Ernie, I thought of this speaker. Again, in Rotary, strangers, acquaintances, and friends. Merrill Ross, well, in fact, another big exercise for me was being past President Ted Barnaby's SAA. That was really a highlight in my 50 years or so because we had a blast during our year together. No, we're not related. And then finally, when I became a Canadian citizen, Ernie, in his understated way, with his immigration judge background, leaned over to me at a Rotary meeting and said, "Now they can't deport you." That's my bit today. Thanks.
Thanks, past President Doug. Next on our roster is Director of Club Service, Betty Ann Lewis. Wait, no Betty Ann's here. She's unmuting.
Muting, unmuting. There we go. I know many of you are probably sick of hearing from me, but anyway, here goes. I've got my timer set, and here we are. President Deb and fellow Rotarians. I've been a member of, for 8 years this September of this club, and I've also been a member of 3 other clubs for another 8 years, and I have perfect attendance in that. So you can tell I'm a Rotary geek, okay? There were many special moments that have come up, but my defining moment in Rotary is a story that involves very seasoned Rotarians. As president of the St. George's Rotary Club of Bermuda, I was asked to represent Bermuda at the district in choosing the next district governor, which meant that I would have to go to New York as we were part of that district. There was one person who was eligible for the role of district governor, and it looked like it would be an easy time. We could just meet together and confirm how it would be. But as I listened to the questions posed by those attending, and I asked the questions that I was given to ask, and then as a group we met together, it wasn't that easy. So we were going to have to meet again. Without hesitation, they brought up the 4-way test. I hope our young Rotarians realize the value of the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? It was then that I was given a gold coin. You probably can't see it. It has the 4-way test on it. And I realized that the gentlemen and the folk that I was with carried one of these with them through their businesses, through everything. And it really struck me how important those 4 things were, not just in Rotary, but I rely on those 4 statements for everything that I do in life. I hope that most of you do as well. And then I was asked about a most touching moment. And that was when I was in Galveston, Texas, after a really serious hurricane there, many lives lost, a lot of damages, business lost. And of course, I had to do my makeup, right? Well, Rotary was just starting up after the hurricane. Many of the Rotarians had lost everything, homes, businesses, all of those things. And as I met together with them, I listened to their stories of loss, future plans that would be different from what they were feeling, but also experience the friendships that they had made through Rotary. What a special time that was. I learned a lot just by being with them. And I thought of how many of them used to come to the van where I was serving a meal, a hot meal. And those Rotarians never thought that they would be on the end of having to receive a hot meal because their homes just weren't able to do that. Actually, I think this experience came to mind because of the time we're going through with COVID-19 and how many of our lives have changed. As Rotarians in 2020, we can make a difference in people's lives. It's a lot different world that we're in, but I know that if we follow the 4-way test and go out and do something different, we can make a difference. Better together. Look for the opportunities that come. Many more experiences that I've had, but those are the 2 that I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty Ann. Next up, we have Lisa Mckee. Lisa, I saw you online a little earlier.
I'm here.
There you are.
There I am. Okay. This is a very emotional story for me, so I'm going to try and keep it together. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, but give you all the basic ideas. The first thing I'm going to say is this started a year into my tenure into Rotary. So the reaction I got from people shocked me. I really wasn't a seasoned Rotarian. I didn't know lots and lots of people. I didn't have really strong relationships with lots of people. So this makes it even sweeter. I call it the 1.5 years from hell. And before I start, because I don't want to forget everybody, I am going to list in alphabetical order every single Rotarian that supported me during this period, whether they realized they were doing it or not. Because of the prompt way they dealt with anything I asked for, the absolutely unequivocal, no problem, whatever, I was just shocked. And they didn't all know what was going on. And in alphabetical order, they are Kelly Best, Wayne Dennis, Craig Graham, Doug Jernigan, Dave McCullough, Paul Markle, Stu McMillan, Ian Pavlik, Gary Pearson, Jim Williams, and Chris Yanch. That's 12 Rotarians. That makes quite a statement. And the way this all started in June of 2016, I had to be off work for about 3 months. And my staff had gone, I had one problem staff member, and she took that as an opportunity to, I mean, you probably all dealt with certain toxic people, and when they get an opportunity to take advantage, they do. The gist of it is there were many Rotarians that helped me through a really tough time, and I was very appreciative that every time I reached out, they were there in many different forms and gave me support in many different ways, and I was very, very grateful.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, we are truly stronger together, and it is amazing how this club comes to the rescue in so many ways and so many times. President Deb, do we still have time for a Dave Mills moment?
We do.
President Deb and fellow Rotarians, my pleasure to give a short little talk here. Thank you for the invitation to talk about my experiences with the club. I joined in 1998. Alfred Hamsch was my sponsor. In defining my Rotary story, I'll take a little off-ramp and explain 4 exposures to Rotary which influenced my becoming a member about 22 years ago. My first exposure to Rotary was receiving the Rotary Head Boy Award in 1966. That was 54 years ago at North Collegiate. I recall being presented the award and check by a Rotary member, and I think his name was Bob Angeloff, I think at that. And our commencement who presented it, and his words were, "Young man, work hard and have fun." This plaque has accompanied me in the entire career, proudly displaying it wherever I went. At that age, I did not really know what Rotary involved, but boy, was I proud to be recognized. Can you see that award?
Can you lift it up a little?
Anyways, thank you to the vocational committee back then. My second exposure was being invited as a guest speaker to attend a Rotary meeting at the Shrine Club. Probably it was around 1980, which was 40 years ago, talking about Bell Canada, where I worked at that time in Toronto. I was invited then by a member, Peter Bertram. I recall the professionalism and the fun the club members were having at that meeting. And although in a career in Toronto, I saw myself one day being a member of just a great organization like this one. Thank you to the P&I committee. My third exposure was in January 1997, having just retired, when George Cameron and Peter Gill were heading up a project to build islands on Kempenfelt Bay. A Rotarian, to be named later, suggested that I should lend a hand. I vividly remember extreme cold winds sticking old Christmas trees into holes in the ice to mark out the location of the islands. From that time to the completion of the islands in the spring, I met some tremendous individuals who would become friends and fellow Rotarians. Seeing Alfred fall out of a boat captured some of the fun we all had in this spectacular success. Thank you to the Environmental Committee. My last instance was my exposure to Alfred Hamsch, who employed me at Cable Recycling, later called Geek. He never stopped talking about Rotary, and with a 20-year perfect attendance. He told me what a great organization it was, what great things they were accomplishing. I never met anyone with the same passion and commitment to an organization. After a lot of free lunches, when he asked me to consider joining, I said yes immediately. Thank you to the International Committee for having Alfred with. club. These 4 instances of exposure to Rotary show that what our club's previous connections and committees made a significant difference on me in becoming a member of this wonderful club. In 1998, I did become a member and I'm forever grateful. My favorite times have been hands-on projects, whether the environmental or club at large, organizing, communicating, participating, and yes, having a beer at the end of the project. This is truly the fellowship that bonds us all. Although all our projects are successes, the big takeaway for me is the fun we had, cheap shots at each other, kibitzing. We developed relationships with other Rotarians at these times and events. A truly touching moment was when we finished the 9-mile portage boardwalk, 10-month project. Jack Burke was a key player in that. And with 20 to 30 Rotarians standing with a big cheer and then off to Jack Wallman's summer place for burgers and beers. Being asked as a director of the club for the first time was pretty special too. Being asked by Arlette and Jerry Norman to be the treasurer position was interesting and very entertaining. Rotary has and remains a significant part of my life. And at 75 years old, the time I spend with Rotarians is so very important to me now. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. And how's our time? We got Greg McWatt on the line. Do we still have time for one more?
Yes.
Okay. Greg, are you there?
I am, Eric. Hello, President Deb.
Hello, Greg.
I apologize because I've been busy and I wasn't planning to make it to this meeting, so I'm not prepared with anything. But I will say, and second to what Doug had said, that I think speakers have always been the driving force for me to come together and really have a great experience in Rotary. So I put out a request to all 48 to 50 people here to really seek out speakers that they may be able to invite to our luncheons in this difficult period with COVID. My first experience with Rotary was through my father, who was a Rotarian, but I didn't know what the heck Rotary was until John Gordon actually invited me to a speaker at the, someone can help me, but it's the old Continental, is it? Continental Inn? The speaker was the Prime Minister of Canada at the time, Brian Mulroney. And as a new person to Barrie, I was invited to this meeting and was blown away by the community presence, the business presence, and the ability to attract the Prime Minister to luncheon. So that's the limit, I think, the high aim we should all have to attract speakers. Through the same period, I did join Rotary and quickly was given a new job after that, and that was to run the chicken barbecue, just with less than a year of experience in Rotary. So I went behind Mr. Gord Stevenson, who was the last chair of a barbecue that actually ran. And I can tell you, I was absolutely petrified of the task. There are the two chicken barbecues were roaring away all day. And at the end of the day, there were 900 quarter chickens waiting to be served that nobody lined up for. So I remember Gord and I standing there shaking our heads saying, I guess Swiss Chalet's got this and we don't have it anymore. And that would have been the same week as this week after the long weekend. So it just was an example of everybody coming together, because the next thing that happened was that, and my name, have to help me with the name, but I'm thinking of our past Rotarian, the bus driver.
Dan?
Pardon me?
Dan?
Not sergeant, but shoot, our past Rotarian who was a military veteran who was an amputee.
Al Secor.
Al Secor, I'm sorry, thank you. So Al Secor shows up along the curb with these 900 chickens and he proceeds to load them into plastic bags and take them to the Salvation Army. And everybody cleaned up, and we still made money, and we still had a great time, but we also had the foresight to see that we needed to change the event and change our fundraising. So the next year, a bunch of Rotarians came up with another idea for the long weekend, and it happened to be the feast. And that went fantastic. I remember going to Brammer Long and getting steaks from the keg, picking them up in my dad's truck and delivering them every half hour to the tent where people were getting keg steaks. And I remember the smell of the keg steak sauce all over my dad's car for the next 2 years. So, and we've changed since then too. So it just tells you that we can, whatever happens, whatever they throw at us, we can change to make this a success. And I think that's all I want to comment about. It is a 20+ year experience, and we always seem to migrate to new things all the time.
Awesome. Getting some applause there from Kim. Oh, lots of applause. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your stories. You know, it's difficult when we're not seeing each other at lunch and being able to share some of these stories over a bite to eat and a glass of wine and just have a little chit chat before the meetings get going. So it's really nice that everybody share a little bit of that camaraderie through Zoom. And for doing that, everyone will also have a certificate of appreciation for a contribution to Polio Plus and a contribution to the fight against COVID-19 through the Resource Center. So thank you again for sharing your stories, and we may be calling on more people as the Zoom time goes on. So, President Deb's Stronger Together, Together Inspired Moment. Now, there we go. As many of you know, this was quite a week. The next era of human spaceflight. Humans have always been intrigued by the stars, but it takes a combination of dreamers, determinations, scientists, and skilled engineers working together. For the first time, a private company, Elon Musk's SpaceX, on Sunday of this week, returned NASA astronauts to Earth after sending them into orbit. Their safe splashdown opens the door to private enterprise as a driving force in space tourism and exploration. A very inspiring moment for sure. So that was pretty incredible if anybody's watched that or followed Elon Musk or the space launch, but it was quite an incredible couple of months. So having no other business for the good of Rotary, I declare this meeting adjourned.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks, President
Bye,
Deb.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Take care, everybody. Take care.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Deb. President Deb, thank you. Have a great day.
And